Francisco 49ers select Coling Kaepernick, quarterback, Nevada.
It was something that was the personal decision work.
How dare you sit there and blame white people for the problems of minority
When somebody disrespects our flag, get that son of a bitch off the field right now.
Does not seem interested in playing the game of football.
America should be ashamed of what they're doing.
Gigantic, enormous mistake.
Kneeling at kickoff has nothing to do with our situation.
I am convinced the main reason urban poverty continues to exist in America is because we have not yet learned how to play well with each other across race and socioeconomic differences. In this neighborhood, I cannot thank my friends for challenging us on the realities of racial disparity and equity and power dynamics when it comes to community development, and they set me on a journey. But there's so much more to the story, and you're going to get a glimpse into it today.
You know, we do have some experts here, but we think that everybody walks into this space an expert on their own experience, right? So we believe that you guys are experts as well, and know that no matter where you land on this subject matter, you're welcome here. And if you came thinking that you're going to really change somebody's mind on this subject matter today, you're probably going to be disappointed. But what you may be able to do is share your perspective in a way that may cause somebody to think a little bit more. So we want to invite you to do that. Can you just give us your thoughts on just Kaepernick and that whole movement regarding protesting police brutality?
As far as him protesting at work, and that's the one thing I feel like the aspect that people need to keep in mind, because I'm very strong on my political beliefs. You know, I'm strongly pro-life. And one of my jobs, I work in entertainment. I do a lot of different stuff, but I host live trivia shows. So if I show up to my job with a shirt that says abortion is murder, my boss is gonna say to me, hey, Christina, you know you can't do that at work. And I feel it's kind of a issue of somewhat privilege if you think about it, to say, well, because I'm a multi-million-dollar athlete, I can break all these normalcies that other people would be forbidden to break in their space, in their job. No job allows you to bring your political opinions to work.
A lot of sports figures, a lot of actors, a lot of entertainers are brands outside of whatever contract they have. And I think, you know, he didn't break any rules. At the time, there was no NFL rule that said that he could not kneel. 1 in every 1,000 black men and boys will likely experience some sort of incident with police that ends in death. You know, sports and entertainment, it's a platform that we've used before, you know, to you know, like shed light on things. And the fact that he was able to do that, in my opinion, was remarkable.
But I do believe it's disrespectful to our veterans. I believe it's disrespectful to America in general. To me, the question is it appropriate for them to choose that particular moment at that particular venue to make that statement? There's a certain measure of decorum that I think we need to show. And Coling Kaepernick wanted to debate something that I think is a fair and fine debate to have in this country. There's 23 hours and 59 minutes of the day to do it. You don't have to do it at the moment that the American flag is brought out and the National Anthem is playing, because to me that becomes a deliberate disrespect and slap in the face to America and to our veterans. And that's the reason I disagree, not with the debate, but with the timing and the venue.
When it comes to just the flag and the anthem, right? Like, what comes to mind for you? Do you feel an affection, an affinity, or a need to honor the flag and the anthem the way that, you know, a good patriotic American would?
For me, the national anthem and the flag don't hold a significant place in my heart of being something that is really comforting to me. I respect the veterans. A part of them fighting for us was them fighting for our right to express our beliefs. And if we believe that the country is not protecting us, then we should express that. Being a person that is oppressed in America, I feel grateful that he used his privilege to represent me and people that look like me or come from similar experiences.
Up until I was 10, Romania was under communist rule. the government, the political system in Romania tried to control not only what you believe, but again, as soon as you spoke out against anything, you were probably jailed for life. So, having that background and coming to this country where we all have the liberty to speak out, it doesn't always mean it's the right thing to do or the appropriate thing to do.
To me, it seems hypocritical to say you have a right to protest except for when I want you to. That is not a protest. That you can't protest when it's convenient. It is never convenient to protest.
What are your thoughts on black folk or black men and black athletes take a stand for something they believe, seem to be made a villain until we catch up with them as a society, and then later on we make them out to be a hero. Right?
We have always glorified protest and retroactiveness. People did not like the Boston Tea Party until now.
I love the country that I live in. Just like Eric said, it's because things like the Boston Tea Party happened, and it's in our DNA to be dissident. You give me $1 million contract and I get some clout and you get some cameras on me, I might do the same thing, and I think a lot of us would. I look at not just our national anthem, but our Pledge of Allegiance, which says one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have that?
People that don't agree with your position on this subject matter, what's something that you would really like them to know?
I think that there is a sense of, if you don't agree with me, I'm going to think that not only the worst possible things about your position, I'm going to think the worst possible things about you as a person. What I would like people to know is that those of us who tend to be politically conservative, that doesn't mean that we're racist. That doesn't mean that we only care about rich white people. That doesn't mean that we don't care about the oppression that African Americans have had to walk through in this country. That doesn't mean that we're not passionate about those issues. We're being conditioned to wear our political views on our sleeve in the stands themselves. I'm sorry, it's ruining sports. There used to be a time, I didn't care if this guy was a Democrat. I didn't care if this guy was an atheist, okay? I didn't care if this guy was a Republican or whatever. It's like, hey, it's a fellow Lions fan, all right. And we can disagree with someone's position, but let's not caricature people and attack them personally and try to make them out to be evil scumbag human beings because they hold these views that are different.
Do you think that sports is enough to unite us?
How old is this country? It's a young country, but it's older than me. So, and for a large part of this country's history, we were not united, not just black and white, all other colors. So I feel like it's going to take more than one. I think it's going to take more than a sport. It's going to take more than one athlete. It's going to take more than one conversation. You really need to put effort into, do I really want to change this, or do I want to continue living in my bubble where I'm only around people that look like me, or do I want to continue living in my bubble where I don't know the struggles of other people?
Just because we don't agree doesn't mean that I'm not willing to listen to what you have to say. Doesn't mean that I don't care about what you have to say. I think the more we talk and listen to each other and what each other has to say, the easier it will become for us to find common solutions.
So we're going to open it up to questions.
And I'd just like to, to ask the question, has Colin Kaepernick moved the argument towards unity?
Well, to answer your question honestly, and this might be controversial and many of you may disagree with me on this, but I genuinely don't believe that the ultimate end game goal should be unity. I think the ultimate end game goal should be truth. Because sometimes truth is going to bring about disunity in some cases. I mean, somebody called into my show one time and said, Bob, Jesus was about peace and bringing people together. He didn't believe in dividing. And I said, really? Who was it that said this? Do not think I've come to bring peace. I come with a sword. I come to divide a mother against a daughter, a son against a father. Not that he prefers division for division's sake, but better to be divided even in your own home than compromise truth. And so sometimes I think we need to speak what the truth is, even if it's uncomfortable. And I do not believe truth should be compromised just for the sake of unity. And so part of what I do is challenge what I believe to be false teachings and false beliefs.
Truth is important. Truth to what end is a question, right? So we have a long way to go before we get where we need to be, right? I mean, it's not just a matter of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We need to be moving toward a state of anti-racism. Now, to get there, it's a long journey, especially given the history that we've had. We have to have truth and reconciliation. Truth and reconciliation is basically saying this is the experience that I'm having, right? And there being a response that makes sense and that's meaningful. If we're going to get to a point where we are living up to our aspirations as a country, truth is important when it leads to reconciliation. It's just that simple, right? And you can only get to reconciliation. The truth will set you free depending on what you do with it.
We gotta keep having these conversations. We gotta keep having them. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, everyone who showed up.